a very happy new year to all of our viewers on this channel. In this channel, we have achieved almost 1 lakh subscribers. That is kind of an achievement for me, for .netfunda.com, for Shiv Narayan sir, right? So we have been working hard on this channel, and I hope that this new year brings a lot of prosperity to you. It brings a lot of good things for you and your family. And I wish to God that your knowledge rises in multifolds this year. So this new year, let me start with the interesting tutorial for beginners, that is the Redis tutorial for beginners. So this is going to be a 20 minutes of tutorial, and in this tutorial, we will try to understand why we need Redis. We will see how to install it. We will look into the commands like ping, clear, set, get, expiry, and then finally we will also see that how we can connect to Redis using C# language. So let us first see that what is Redis and why do we need Redis, and then we will start the commands, we will look into installation, and we will learn Redis at least at the beginner level. Redis is an open source in-memory cache. So if you look at why we do caching in application, is we do caching because we want to improve performance. For example, when you're reading or writing data, you actually go to the hard disk and you do input output. So for reading the data, you actually do an output. For writing it, you actually do an input. Now, this process of doing input and output to the hard disk is a bit tedious. It actually hits the performance. So if you have data which is static in nature, for example, country master, state master, configuration data. So what you can do is you can read this static data once into a cache, into the RAM, into your in-memory, and then do operations from that in-memory. So with that, what will happen is the input and output which you're doing on your physical hard disk, that is minimized. And by doing so, your performance increases, right? So this Redis is nothing but it is an open source in-memory cache. So in order to install Redis, you can click on this download link out here. So you can see that the official website of Redis is redis.io. So you can go to redis.io.download. Now over here, you can see that there is an unstable version. So in case you want to check out the new feature, then this is a good thing. Then there's a stable version, but again, this stable version is recently launched, so it has to go through some bugs or it has to become matured, right? And then you have the old version, which is really stable. It has been time tested, battle tested, right? So this is a good pick. So what I've done is at this moment, I have installed 3.2, but whatever I demonstrate from 3.2 will not change for 4.0 as well, or must be even for the unstable version. So all the steps, whatever I'm demonstrating in this video should remain same. So you can go and download it. Now remember that Redis officially does not support any kind of thing for Windows as such, but we have a group here, which is the MS Open Tech. So you can see that there is something called as a github.Microsoft Archive Redis. So they are actually supporting Redis for Windows platform. So you can see that this is a port for Windows based on Redis. So what you can do is you can get the official 64-bit version, as a MSI from this release page. So if you go to this release page, you can get the Redis MSI and you can install it. And whatever I'm demonstrating in this video is all for the Windows platform. And people who are on other platforms, you can just download this file and you can read the release notes, and the steps are almost same. So to get Redis, you have to go to redis.io.download and then see that, which is for Windows, and see what is for other versions or for other operating systems. Now, once you install Redis for Windows, right, in your services, you can see that there is a small Redis service which is running at the background. So if you go and if you start your services, you can see that over here, we have this Redis, which is the server which is running at the background. Now you can see that there are multiple services of Redis which I'm running here. So it is very much possible that you can run multiple instances of Redis on the same machine or on the same server. So at this moment, you can see that the other two I have stopped, but you can see there is one which is at this moment which is running. Now please note that this Redis service which is running at the background is nothing but the Redis server. So it is the core engine, which will handle caching, lookups, threading, and everything, right? So it's the main core engine of Redis. But in order to communicate to this Redis service, or I will rather say Redis server, we need to actually go and fire commands to it. So for that, the Redis team has given something called as the CLI commands. So what you can do is you can go and type directory out here. So you can see here wherever your Redis is installed. At this moment, my Redis is installed in the C program files. So in this, they have given a small exe here called as the Redis CLI command line exe, and using this exe, I can go and fire commands of Redis. So you can see on the site, there is a command link. So there are lots of commands of Redis, which you can go and execute on the Redis server. Like if you want to go and input some cache, if you want to go and read some cache, if you want to go and purge, if you go on to do a backup, put authentication, right? So all these commands we can learn from this link out here. To fire this command, we have to go and run this Redis CLI. So let me go and run Redis CLI over here, Redis-CLI. Once I run this Redis-CLI, it goes and it connects to my Redis server. So you can see that at this moment, my Redis server is running on the 6379 port. So it has actually gone ahead and connected to my Redis server, and now it is waiting for the commands. So I can go and type here the command like ping. So if I say ping, he answers me back pong, right? I can also say 4-time ping. So he will answer me 4-time pong, right? So one is that we have the Redis server, and then we have the Redis CLI, which actually fires a command to the Redis server, and the Redis server responds back. You can also go and type here ping Redis learner. So you can also go and type some message out here. He will respond back with the Redis learner. If you want to go and clear, then you can go and fire here the clear command. This clear command clears, whatever commands at this moment you have typed on the Redis client. If you want to go and set some value, so at the end of the day, we are interested to load some cache and read some cache, right? So to set values to the cache, you can use the set command. You can see here, as soon as I type the set command, he actually gives me a mini intelligence on the command prompt, saying that what you want to type. So I can say here, okay, set a key, and the key is K1, right? And the value is Shiv, okay? And if I press enter, you can see now he says that, okay, I have set a key called as K1 with the value Shiv. If I want to read it, I can just say here get K1, and that reads it. So remember, if you want to set a value inside the Redis cache, you need to use the set command, and if you want to go and read from the Redis cache, you can use the get command. Also, if you want to learn the commands, you can click on this commands over here in the redis.io, and you can go and you can type your command here. So you can see here that there are a lot of categories of command, which they have kept here. For example, if I go and type get, you can see that the get command which we just typed, it is this one. If you see the command set, you should see that this is our set command over here, right? So set value, and also there's a small help given, what to do, how to type, right? So you can always go and type here the commands and learn from it. But let me quickly go through some important commands. So one is we learned the echo commands. Second one is we learned the set, get, we learned the clear. One of the very important command which I feel is the command of expiry. So this expire command, okay? So for example, if you go and if you set some data, right, you'd like to go and set an expiry to that cache. So what you can do is, for example, I can go and set some data out here. I can say this is K2 and this K2 is Shiva. Okay, let us say, please note, this is K2 is Shiva, right? And then I can go and say here, okay, I want to go and now put an expiry around it. So right after the command, I can go and type here expire. So let us quickly see the syntax of expire. So expire the key name. So I'll say here expire K2 after 20 seconds. Okay. So if you see here now, he has returned an integer 1 saying that it is successful. So now if I say here get K2, I will get it. Okay. But let us say if I do it after 20 seconds, then I won't get it, right? So if the 20 seconds has crossed, I'm not sure. After 20 seconds, I will not get it. So that is, you can see now I'm getting nil, right? So expire command, in case you want to just ensure that your cache gets expired after a certain interval. Again, clear command to just clear the the thing out. The other command which I find very useful is the keys command. So in a big cache environment, right, you would be adding a lot of keys, and then probably you would like to go and just query and say that, okay, does this key exist or not, right? So you can go and say your keys star, right? So this will give me all the keys which I have entered till now. But if I want to just get keys, which are starting with a S, right, or with a T, then I can say your key, and you can see that after that he gives me a pattern. So I can say this is T star, right? So with that only I will get keys, which are starting with the word T, right? So again, keys command, if you want to just go and see what kind of keys your cache is having at this moment, there is no way out here to go and see the values and the keys together. So I know that one of the things which can come to a developer's mind, which came to my mind as well, is that can I just go and see the keys and the values together? No, we do not have anything like this inside from the Redis CLI, but you can do it from a program. So if you are connecting from Java or C# or PHP, right, you can do that. I will show that in some moment later. The other command, which I use frequently is the configuration command. Now remember that Redis has a lot of configuration. So if you go and see, wherever Redis is installed, there is a redis.windows.configuration file, right? So this configuration file has all the configuration. So you can go and edit that configuration file, but I think the best way would be to use the commands so that you have a abstraction. So you can, if you want to get all the configurations, you can just say config and you can say get config. Okay, let me look at my command notepad, config and get. Yeah, that is right. So config get star must be. Yeah, there it is. So config get star, you can see these are all the configurations. So there are lots of configurations out here. The file name, do you want a password or not, and so on, right? So if you want to now go and set the configuration, for example, I want to just go ahead and set that I want to put a password to my Redis cache, right? So I can go and set this required pass. So I can do something like this. I'll just clear everything, too much things out there. So config set require pass to Shiv, right? There it is. It is okay. Now what will happen is if I now try to go and connect again, so let us say I'll just do a control C, I will exit. And if I now try to run the Redis CLI, and if I try to do a ping without the password, it actually gives me an error saying that no, you need authentication now. Please go and set the authentication. So now for authentication, we need to go and type auth. Now in case you're not sure about the command, please go and use this search out here. So you can say it says here auth and the password. Fine. So I'll say here auth and I will say Shiv. Now you can see it has given me a OK signal here, which means that I am logged in. So that means if I do a ping, I should get a pong. If I do a 4 times a ping, I should get a 4 times a pong. Great. And there is one more command which I use frequently, that is the info command. This info command gives me a complete idea of the information of my Redis cache. So it tells me how is the CPU used, how many clusters I have, what kind of memory is consumed, how many clients are connected, and so on, right? Also, this client list, helps me to look into saying that how many clients are connected. For example, you can see here at this moment only one client is connected. But if I go and fire one more command prompt, and if I say Redis CLI, and if I say again client list, you can see that now I see 2 clients connected, right? So again, the client list command is important. There's one more command here, monitor. This monitor command tells what kind of things are executed on your Redis cache. For example, if I go here and I say get key, let's say K1, right? Or okay, I have to set the auth. You can see now I set the auth to Shiv, and the monitoring is going on at the back end. It is saying me that somebody has authenticated. If I do a get here, let's say I say get K1, right? Oh, there it is. It's now saying it. I don't know what happened. So you can see now, I can see that somebody executed the get command. So the monitor command helps you to monitor, what is happening on your Redis cache at this moment. Also, let us understand that how we can go and consume or connect to Redis cache using programming languages. So you can see here in the redis.io there is something called as a clients menu, and in this you can see that you can almost connect by all the languages what is available in this world at this moment, right? So let me just demonstrate how to connect via using C#, right? So if you want to connect via using C#, the first thing is you will go to NuGet, right? And in NuGet you will install this NuGet package, that is stackexchange.redis. Okay, so you can see that I have clicked on NuGet, I have searched Redis, and I have installed it in my Visual Studio application. So in my Visual Studio I have a very simple console application, right? This is a console application. In that I have installed Redis, stackexchange.redis. Once you have done that, to connect to Redis is a 4-step process. So the first thing is you will go and you will create the object of connection multiplexer. This connection multiplexer is like your connection object which connects to the server of Redis. The next thing is you will go and you will query the multiplexer and say that get the database of Redis, and then you can go and start firing the commands like get, set. So you can see here I'm firing the command here get, and I'm trying to get a key called as K1, and then I'm trying to display that value in a console. So remember this K1 very quickly. If you see this K1, it has a value Shiv, right? So if I run my application, so you can see I have compiled my application, you can see that the value Shiv is displayed on Visual Studio. So remember, to connect to Redis is a 4-step process. First thing, you will create an object of connection multiplexer, you will get the database instance, and then you will start firing get command. You can also fire set, right? So you can see here string set, string this, right? So all the commands, once you get the object of database instance of Redis, you can start firing the commands. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Now, while you're watching this tutorial, right, down below in the comment section, in the text section, you can also find our other learn step-by-step video tutorial series, which are in the same format of learn in 20 minutes, learn in 1 hour, learn in 8 hours, and so on. So you can see here, you can learn MSBI in 32 hours, you can learn JavaScript in 2 hours, C# in 100 hours, a design pattern in 8 hours. So I would suggest to please go and watch these step-by-step videos tutorial series as well. So again, Happy New Year, and let us quickly revise also that what we have learned in this video. So I'm going to have a 10-20 seconds of a slide, where we will revise all the commands, of Redis what we have learned in this video. Thank you.